Hello, I'm Chris Lawcock. I'm the inventor of these wheel stands here. I'd like to take a few minutes to show you how easy they are to use and install and some of the benefits and features of them. What I'd like to do is install these wheel stands on this mid-year Corvette, which will elevate the car, get it up in the air to a comfortable work height, and you have total access to the undercarriage of the car to where you can crawl around underneath it with a creeper or whatever you choose to use, a lot more comfortable than jack stands being in the way underneath the A-arms of the car. Raise your car up approximately 9 to 11 inches to get these stands on. You just simply remove the wheel and tire and put this stand on in the same bolt pattern that's on your car, and these stands are equipped with 4 of the common American sized bolt patterns. Okay, in order to install, you just put them right on like you would a car tire, a car wheel. The stands are constructed of 3/16 metal. There's a heavy gusset in the back, a pocket which accepts a connector bar front to rear, which we'll show you later. That allows you to lift the car from this connector bar rather than right under the frame. But the 3/16 inch construction is more than adequate to wheel around a light truck or any type of vehicle, car, being light truck or car. Now I got a powder coat finish on these, like I said, with 4 different bolt patterns. These plates are interchangeable. If you needed a bolt pattern off this plate, you would simply take this plate out of the top and replace it with this bottom plate, which allows you to have a different bolt pattern in there, and then store this top plate on the lower side. I got 5-inch phenolic caster swivel wheels on here with locking brake on one wheel to keep your car from rolling when you don't want it to. One of the biggest reasons I invented these wheel stands is the fact that it brings the car to an elevated height to where it's more comfortable to work under an engine compartment for long periods of time, such as in restoration or even engine and transmission swap where there's 2 or 3 days involved. What I've come to learn over the years is bending over an engine compartment will tear up your lower back, and that's the main feature that I like with these, is the height to where you don't have to bend over so far and waste your back at that point. Typically, in order to lift a car to this height, you would have to put your jack under it and lift the car, put your jack stands, the common jack stands that are used in a shop. Then your car becomes fixed. It's there until you get your jack back out, jack the car up, take the jack stands out, install your wheels and tires, let the car back down, and then you're able to move the car within the shop. But you have to roll it back and forth to get it to where you want to in most cases. In this case, where the wheel stands come in handy, your car is elevated. It's elevated right now, and you don't have to break the jack out to move your car. It's elevated and it remains portable. You can push this car anywhere within the shop that you choose to do it. 2 people's nice, but 1 person can easily handle that chore to move the car wherever you want to in the shop. So, as I explained earlier, on these wheel stands, there's a gusseted pocket in the back of these stands to accept this connector bar, which goes front to rear. So this connector bar here will reach to the back stand and the front stand, connecting the 2 stands together on each side. In order to do that, you just simply take this 2x3 quarter wall tube, slide it through the front or rear, it does not matter which way you go. You slide it through these pockets in the stand, and there is a lock nut back here on the back side if you choose to lock this pipe down, which is a safety feature on these stands. You simply tighten this nut down, which pushes on this connector bar so it will not go anywhere. It won't come out. Now I'd like to position this car over on the other side of the shop, on the other side of the shop, to where I can lift this car with a vehicle hoist. Now this simple rod is a bar that I can hook into optional holes on these wheel stands and be able to pull the car where I want to without touching the vehicle. A lot of people, they'll take and push on the side of a fender. That's a no-no, especially with a metal car or fiberglass. So this optional bar allows you to hook into any front or rear of the wheel stand and pull it wherever you want to pull it. You can easily glide your car around the shop. And if you don't watch it, sometimes you have to stop the car, so don't run it into the wall. It'll roll easy. Now, as I was saying earlier, you can't take these hard phenolic wheels and bust them over a 2-inch ledge in your concrete floor. But I have this grating in this floor, and it's not exactly level, but it's now 2-inch rise in the concrete or nothing, or the grating. But you can roll over small obstructions with these wheels. I'll show you here. The hardest part of this is steering the car. Roll over that grating. Lined up for this vehicle hoist. Now we're going to lift this car from the connector bar, the front to rear connector bar. Lifting from these connector bars rather than from the car's frame, you can easily walk underneath the car without slamming your head into the exhaust system, which is no problem for a man that's 5'7", but me being 6 foot, you tend to bump into things once in a while. Not very often, you do it once, that's enough, but you get an extra 8 inches of headroom underneath the car to where you can just walk around under it comfortably without being crunched down and keeping your head from running into an A-arm or a tie rod end or whatever. What I want to show you is a typical demonstration of what your car does when it's lifted from the frame rather than from its wheels or hubs. I have placed my lift arms right underneath the frame of this car, which I'm going to lift the car in a typical manner as anyone would in their shop, but I'm going to show you what happens to a car when you do lift it that way, especially an old classic. Some people have 70, 80, 100 and upwards thousands of dollars into these vehicles. They place them on a typical hoist, and what happens is that when you lift the car, it has a tendency to turn it into a teepee type of thing. Now this is a quarter inch piece of it's a windshield removal tool. That's a 1/4 inch wide. Now you can't get that in between that gap right there. But watch what happens to this gap when I raise this car from its frame. I'll do that right now. You can clearly see the separation, the sag. Now see, this is lifted up from its frame, and you take this windshield tool and it would clearly go into that gap. It opens it up more than 1/4, sometimes even 1/2 inch, to where your doors do not open and close easily. See where it hits on that, on your striker, between your latch and your striker? It hits hard on there. That's because your car is bowed and it's pulling the quarter panel and the door, separating them. This connector bar in place, and all the weight is transferred onto the hubs or axles of the car. The gap between your door and quarter goes nowhere. It's like it's sitting on the ground still. There's no deviation in your body whatsoever because you're lifting from your hubs and axles. Now for the coupe owners, the roof supports this hind portion of the car, and all your stress is brought up to the front of the car. So whether you have a coupe or convertible, somewhere your car is going to be stressed to where it flexes, which makes the wheel stands great because you're lifting your car from your hubs or axles. You don't want to ever lift your classic car from its frame. You always want to lift it from its hubs or axles. So don't let a shop or anybody lift your car from its frame anymore.